Welcome to South First. I'm Anusha Ravi Sood, and you're watching State of Play, a weekly roundup of all things politics and policy from the southern part of India. What is common between Delhi, Tamil Nadu, and Andhra Pradesh? Well, now it's an alleged multi-crore liquor scam. The incumbent government in Andhra Pradesh, led by TDP's Chandrababu Naidu, is pursuing what it claims is a multi-crore scam that has taken place under the previous YSRCP regime led by Jagan Mohan Reddy. This episode of State of Play is all about that scam. 3,200 crores in kickbacks through a syndicate made up of officials, government representatives, distilleries. This, in a nutshell, is what the alleged Andhra Pradesh liquor scam under the YSRCP regime is all about. This isn't just about a corruption allegation. This is the impact of a change of governments in Andhra Pradesh, currently led by Chandrababu Naidu, the same Naidu who was arrested and jailed by the previous YSRCP regime under the Jagan Mohan Reddy government, accusing him of a skill development corporation scam. This all started in September 2024, soon after the TDP-led NDA government, an NDA government in which BJP and JSP are also part, came to power in Andhra Pradesh in a landslide victory that decimated the previous YSRCP regime, helmed by Jagan Mohan Reddy as Chief Minister. In September 2024, Mukesh Kumar Meena, the Principal Secretary of Andhra Pradesh, files a complaint based on a committee report of the Andhra Pradesh State Beverages Corporation Limited. This was a 5-member committee that carried out a thorough study of the changing liquor policies in Andhra Pradesh between 2019 and 2024, the same 5 years when Jagan Mohan Reddy led YSRCP was in power in the state and gave its report, a report which red flagged several issues in the entire process. Just like the Jagan Mohan Reddy government then had asked the CID of Andhra Pradesh to investigate the skill development board scam, which landed Chandrababu Naidu in jail, the Naidu government now in Andhra Pradesh set up a SIT, a special investigating team, to only go after or probe the allegations raised by this 5-member committee of the Andhra Pradesh State Beverages Corporation Limited. When the Andhra Pradesh SIT recently arrested Kasi Reddy Rajshekhar Reddy, who was the then IT advisor to Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy of Andhra Pradesh, they submitted a copy of this report to the court. South First read through this report, and this report flags several malpractices and makes allegations of 3,000 plus crore rupees losses to the state exchequer. Here are some of the key points that are there in this report. According to this committee report, many popular, well-known brands, especially of whiskey like Bagpiper, McDowell's, Seagram's, Royal Stag, were all sidelines to allow for new players to become, or rather establish, monopoly in Andhra Pradesh's liquor market. The committee insisted that these brands were deliberately sidelined, making them practically invisible in the market, making them go nearly unavailable in all government retail outlets. In doing so, the committee report said, the available stocks of these brands had passed their expiry date and hence had caused huge losses to the exchequer. Even as these popular brands were going invisible, or rather not being allowed to be purchased in these government outlets, newer brands, lesser known brands, were being brought in, stocked up in a disproportionate manner. The committee also insists that the government was indulging in such disproportionate procurement of newer, lesser known brands that it even breached the 10,000 case limit for new brands, thus once again manipulating the system. The committee report suggested that these various breaking of norms, manipulation of systems that were already put in place, and converting from the digital system to a manual system which allowed for much more discretion by special officers appointed by the then government, several multinational corporations did suffer. In fact, the report noted that there was a drastic reduction in the market share of major distilleries and suppliers, including the likes of United Spirits and Pernod Ricard, which went down from 53.21% to barely 5.3% in Andhra Pradesh. Even as the market share of these multinational distilleries kept coming down or kept reducing, newer players started seeing much more visibility, much more profits, or rather, much more supply to government operated liquor stores. The committee added that this particular process was run by an entire syndicate whose members included officers, high ranking officers of Andhra Pradesh, politicians, and individuals, while it identified then IT advisor to Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy, Kasi Reddy, who currently is in custody. It also identified several other players. The other names that the report brought up or threw up was Vasudev Reddy, Managing Director of APSBCL and Commissioner of Beverages and Distilleries. He was accused of making the shift from the digitized version of keeping track of all of this processes into manual process. Satya Prasad was another person who was named by the committee. He was an assistant secretary and is accused of running the entire syndicate's plan. He basically was the person who implemented this plan on ground, is what the committee report suggests. He was allegedly appointed to execute the plan, directly managing the OFS issuance based on a kickback driven system. P. Mithun Reddy and Vijay Sai Reddy, very popular names of the YSRCP, both of them were also named by this committee. These are the figures who allegedly promised career advancements to co-conspirators in this entire alleged scam, and they oversaw the financing structure of the kickbacks. Tajjala Sridhar Reddy, Muppidi Avinash Reddy, otherwise also known as Sumit, and Bonnetti Chanakya. These were the associates who coordinated the kickbacks according to the committee. Among all these names, Vijay Sai Reddy has washed his hands off the scam. In fact, a long-time aide of Jagan Mohan Reddy, Vijay Sai Reddy, until very recently, this year was the Rajya Sabha member and MP from the YSRCP, but he resigned from his position and announced his retirement from politics. But now it seems he's all set to come back to politics, and this time by joining the BJP. But his entry into the BJP is subject to Chandrababu Naidu's approval. Given this is the scenario that he is in, Vijay Sai Reddy, when he was appearing for questioning in this particular case, spoke to the media where he said his role in this entire supposed scam is that of a whistleblower, and thieves who have been caught and those thieves who haven't been caught are only dragging his name into it. Now, he left the media guessing as to who the thieves who haven't been caught were that he was referring to. Vijay Sai Reddy's "I am a whistleblower" statement came even as the committee report identifies him as a key influencer of this entire scenario. In fact, the committee report says the syndicate's plan was allegedly formalized in meetings held in Hyderabad and Vijayawada, primarily at Vijay Sai Reddy's residence on 13th of October 2019 and a private building in Jubilee Hills in Hyderabad in December 2019. These meetings, according to the committee report, allegedly estimated monthly kickbacks of 50 to 60 crore rupees by manipulating this digitized system and turning it into a manually operated process. Now, how are the kickbacks fixed? Kickbacks, according to this committee report, were fixed based on the base price of liquor brands, ranging from 150 rupees per case for cheaper brands and about 600 rupees and upwards for premium brands. The committee report says the payments were collected every 5 days by co-conspirators, associates whose only job was collection. And this collection they did through VPNs, international numbers, and apps like Signal to prevent detection. The funds thus collected in kickbacks, according to this committee's report, were then laundered through several channels, including Hawala networks, inflated vendor payments, and fake promotional expenses. Shell companies too have been flagged by the committee report that insists that several shell companies were misused for this illegally gotten funds to be laundered. Kasi Reddy Rajshekhar Reddy, in fact, was arrested also based on the investigation that claimed he ran some of these shell companies through which money was routed and laundered. Kasi Reddy Rajshekhar Reddy was arrested by the SIT from Hyderabad on the 21st of April, and his statement, which the SIT said were confessions of a magnanimously huge multi-crore scam were used to pursue the case further. The SIT claims that Kasi Reddy accepted, acknowledged, and admitted that he put in place a syndicate to ensure a smooth workflow to make this alleged scam work. He admitted to apparently putting in place a kickback system manipulating liquor trade policies. In fact, the SIT claimed that he accepted to have worked with then Chief Minister YS Jaganmohan Reddy to generate revenue and party funds, though he had refused to sign this confessional statement. This is where the YSRCP has issued a rebuttal, considering what the SIT has told the court as a confession of Kasi Reddy. YSRCP insists that this was nothing more than vindictive politics of Chandrababu Naidu government in Andhra Pradesh. The YSRCP claims that this entire case stands on forced, coerced confession and fabricated stories. It accuses the Chandrababu Naidu government of extortion, of coercion, of using political control to go after leaders of the YSRCP, just to indulge in vindictive politics. In its rebuttal, YSRCP has claimed that not only were there no kickbacks, no new licenses have also been issued, using that as a means to insist that there was no money involved and hence there was no question of kickbacks. YSRCP also insists that the companies being flagged by this committee report were empaneled not under YSRCP regime but before it even came to power under the TDP's previous regime. As this politics plays out, the YSRCP perhaps is now reminded of the time that when it was in power, it did launch an investigation against then opposition leader Chandrababu Naidu, landing him in jail. That jail time did whip up a sympathy wave in favor of Chandrababu Naidu, helping the TDP that already gained a lot of strength on ground with the BJP and JSP joining hands with it to wipe out the YSRCP practically. So much so that the YSRCP could not win enough number of seats to even claim the opposition's position in Andhra Pradesh Legislative Assembly. Interestingly, when the CID under the then YSRCP government registered an FIR against Chandrababu Naidu in this skill development board case, the Enforcement Directorate, the central agency, had also taken note or had taken cognizance of this issue and launched its own investigation. This was a time when the TDP was still not an alliance partner of the BJP. However, election time comes and TDP and BJP enter into an agreement to be allies. TDP officially becomes a partner in the NDA led by the BJP at the center, and Chandrababu Naidu led NDA government at the state level come to power, and within a few months the ED gives its report and says there was no evidence against Chandrababu Naidu so far, practically giving Chandrababu Naidu, now an ally of the BJP, a clean chit in a case which landed him in jail barely a few months earlier. What is interesting, or maybe some of you would call it a coincidence, is whether it was Delhi, the previous Aam Aadmi Party-led government in Delhi, or the existing DMK-led government in Tamil Nadu, and now the previous regime of YSRCP led by Jaganmohan Reddy in Andhra Pradesh, it seems the NDA looks at liquor policies as a huge means to probe into its opposition parties. Whether this alleged 3,000 plus crore rupee scam in Andhra Pradesh takes newer turns and will it finally land the SIT on the doorsteps of Jaganmohan Reddy is left to be seen. Until next week, when we come to you with yet another topic, do stay tuned. Thank you for watching South First.